Hello and welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. Today's episode is a collaboration with Your Creative Studio. Your Creative Studio is a monthly subscription box filled with wonderful journaling supplies, and it's sent right to your door. I love the Your Creative Studio journaling supplies. I think they have a really lovely vintage vibe, which I think really complements my style. And I also love that they have a lot of basic supplies, which I use in almost every journaling layout that I create. I also really love that you receive so many supplies. In the packages of stickers, you receive many different kinds of stickers, as well as sizes and styles. I love these little stamp stickers because I can use these in my pen pal mail. I use them in my layouts. I use them in lots of different projects that I create. And every box does have a different theme, which is always very exciting because you never know what box you're going to receive and what the theme will be. So that's a really fun aspect when you subscribe to one of the Your Creative Studio subscription boxes. The theme for this month was birds. This is the box that I received. And these bird pages and papers and stickers are all so beautiful, and I have a lot of use for them. So as you can see, not every single piece has something to do with birds, but it all does have a very vintage feel and a very vintage vibe, and it's all very cohesive. This is also a really fun aspect. You get washi tape, and many times you also get rubber stamps, which I'll open a little bit closer towards the end. The stamps included in this particular box were cling stamps, and they always stamp very clear and very beautiful. You all know how much I love washi tape, so opening this washi tape was a lot of fun, and it was quite beautiful. And these particular stickers also have a washi tape feel to them, so it's really fun to kind of look through them and think about how I'm going to use them in future layouts. The next thing that I'm going to open are those cling stamps that I told you about a little bit earlier in the video. They are so beautiful, and there are so many. They came in this really sweet little plastic bag, which I will reuse probably in my layouts, in future layouts. But I loved the images. I think it might get a little blurry, and I apologize for that, but those stamps were beautiful. So thank you so much, Your Creative Studio. These supplies are incredible. I can't wait to incorporate them into my journaling. If you are interested in purchasing a Your Creative Studio box, just look in the description box below because I've left all the information there. So now let's get to the layout. I'm super excited to create this one. I decided that I wanted to journal about my day with Abby at Disneyland. We were able to go a couple weeks ago just for a few hours. She took her camera and took these gorgeous photos. She's an incredible photographer. And we also recreated a really cute picture of her as a 5-year-old holding a tiger tail, and now a 16-year-old holding the same tiger tail in the same location in Critter Country. Is that what it's called now? Gosh, I don't even remember. When I was young, it was called Bear Country. So anyway, what I'm going to do is cut down this beautiful, these scraps of paper that I have. I wanted to make some cascading pockets. So what I'm going to do is trim down these scraps of paper that I happen to have laying around. They don't match perfectly, but they are very complementary towards each other. So I trimmed the first one down to match the page that is in my journal exactly. And then the next few, I'm actually just going to trim down so that I can create 3 separate pockets. And then I will put my photos in those pockets, and those pockets will sort of cascade down the page. So I'm actually going to set my journal aside, and I'm going to create the cascading pockets first. I'm going to use this circle punch to create half circles, and then I'm going to add the first pocket. I'm going to trim those other 2 scraps down to fit, and then I will use that same circle punch to create half circles so that it's easier just to pull the photos in and out of those pockets. So I just used that original piece of cardstock that I sized to my journal page as a template. I think it's just the easiest way to do things. I just make some really quick marks and then I use that paper cutter to trim everything down. I almost always use a paper cutter when I journal. I really struggle to cut a straight line. I don't know why. I got my paper cutter at Michael's and it was very inexpensive. So now, as you can see, all of those paper scraps are trimmed to size. I'm going to use that circle punch to create half circles just so that it's easier to pull photos in and out. And your scraps don't have to match. They can actually clash. I think it is a little bit more interesting and a lot more fun. So just whatever you have will work. The next thing that I'm going to do is use my Tim Holtz Distress ink, and I'm just going to go around the perimeter of all of the scraps. I think it just gives it a more finished look, and it sort of adds to the Winnie the Pooh Critter Country vibe, in my opinion. So I'm just going to speed up the time here so that you don't have to watch me do it in real time because it took a while. So now that all of those have been distressed, I am actually going to use my hot glue to adhere those cascading pockets. You could use anything. You could use double stick tape, you could use fabric tack, you could use PVA glue. It will just take a little bit longer to dry. And so for the sake of the YouTube, I just thought it would be best to use hot glue because it will dry immediately and I know that it will stay in place nice and secure. So I just go ahead and apply that hot glue to the perimeter on 3 sides of each of those pockets. This is a very simple technique and I actually really love the way it looks, and I love that I used hot glue because it was very simple and very fast. So I'm just about finished here. I'm about halfway through. I'm just going to get the rest of the glue onto that second pocket. I made that one a nice wide pocket in case I wanted to add things later. And then the last thing I need to add is that final pocket that will sit at the bottom of that page. I actually really love this print in this cardstock. And that particular pocket is a little bit more shallow, which is nice. And as I proceed to finish this layout, I actually will add some of the Your Creative Studio stickers and papers to the bottom of that pocket just to embellish it and make it a little bit more personal. So now that those cascading pockets are complete, I am actually going to use PVA glue to stick this down into my journal layout. I'm using PVA glue for this because PVA glue is a little bit flexible, which is nice, and it won't dry immediately, so I can sort of move it around to make sure that I have it positioned correctly onto the page. And as you can see, I use a generous amount of that PVA glue because I want to make sure this page is secure. It does have a lot of separate pieces of cardstock on it, so it's a little bit heavier, and I want to make sure that it will be a page that doesn't move around, so I use a lot of PVA glue. I also add a couple of staples just so as it dries it will stay in place, and then I also decide to add a little bit of washi tape so that it doesn't lift as it dries. And I'm so happy with how it came out. I'm just going to sort of show you how it looks. I'm going to add those photos in there just sort of haphazardly just so you can see how those pockets work well. They have photos in them. I'm just going to stick them in there. It's really cute and it's a nice way to add photos without making it look super scrapbooky. The next thing I'm going to do is add this adorable Winnie the Pooh page. It's a vintage style Winnie the Pooh page, and Tigger is on there. So I'm just going to trim it down to fit on the other side of the layout. I love the way it looks. I want it to sort of be a statement piece on the page because the photos of Abby as a 5-year-old and as a 16-year-old, she is holding that Tigger tail in front of the Winnie the Pooh ride. So I love the way it looks. I add a little bit more distress ink just to sort of keep a consistency from the pages on one side over to the other. And I'm just going to use a glue stick to stick it down, and that whole page will be just about done. I'm going to add a few more embellishments and some stickers, but I love the idea of a statement page. The next thing I'm going to add is a piece of this really pretty tape. I actually received it from a dear friend, Diane, so thank you, Diane. It has flowers on it. They're yellow daisies and sunflowers. I thought that was the perfect tape to add to the center of this layout, and it also makes me think of Diane, so it's a win-win. And now comes the fun part. I am going to break out my Your Creative Studio box, and I'm going to use stickers and papers and pages to decorate and embellish this layout. I'm going to start with these stamp stickers. They're actually my favorite in this box. I love these little strips. They're kind of like vintage newsprint strip stickers. I love that. These little birds, and also these vintage style paper scraps. And these little memo sheets and birds, I definitely would like to add as well. So there's so much to choose from. I'm very excited to get started. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is use these vintage style papers to use as a backing on all of the photos that I have. And the reason I'm going to do this is so that I can use the backs of these photos as journaling. And so I don't have to write all over the pages. I can actually use the back of the photos to write on and to do my journaling on and to record my memories on. So I'm just sort of deciding here what photos I wanted to add. I knew I needed to add that one of Abby as a baby and Abby now. I also wanted to include her photography, and I also wanted to include the photo of her actually taking the photos. So now that I've done that, I'm just going to use those beautiful vintage style Your Creative Studio papers as the backing for the photos. I'm just going to use a glue stick, and I just make sure that they are on there nice and secure. Once I have all of the backings on, I'm just going to trim around them so that they fit to size. So now that all of the photos have the backing, I'm just going to trim them down with my scissors. Now that all of the photos are trimmed down, I start adding them back into those cascading pockets, and I realized that it would be really cute if I added tabs to the photos so that I can easily pull them in and out of those pockets. So I go and grab a whole bunch of vintage trim and ribbon and start deciding which ones would be cute to use on which photo. This is a very simple process. It's very similar to putting tabs on the side of your journal. You just cut a couple inches off, and I use a stapler, but you can sew them on. And I just use a stapler to put it right on the top of the photo, and it creates a really cute little tab. I actually added them to all the photos. I think it adds a nice tactile feel to your journal, and it adds color and a sweet little vintage vibe. Now that I'm just about finished with the process of adding the tabs to the photos, I'm just going to get some more stickers and papers and start adding various embellishments to each side of the layout. I just want to make it a little more personal, and I think it's really sweet to add those butterfly stickers and other little goodies that can really add some character to my layout and kind of bring it to life. So I start with some of these vintage paper scraps. I choose one that I think would look nice there on the bottom. I add some distress ink all around the edges just to kind of keep it cohesive, since I did that on the pockets and the statement page. I'm using my glue stick for most of this unless there's stickers, and I'm really loving the way this is looking so far. This is actually a sticker page, so I'm just going to cut out that little vintage memo part of it. I am going to add a little bit of distress ink, mainly because I didn't cut it super well. So by adding that distress ink around the sticker, it actually sort of hides my not so great cutting skills. I really love these butterfly stamp stickers, and sort of a bonus for these stickers, for me anyway, is that butterflies really have a special meaning for Abby. So I sort of want to add a lot of those around the pages because I know butterflies are very special to her and me. And I also love these bird stickers, so I thought it would be sweet to add them in the blue sky over there. So I'm really just having a lot of fun. I'm just adding goodies all throughout the page, courtesy of your creative studio. Something that didn't occur to me as I was actually creating this page, because I'm doing the voiceover after it's complete, obviously, is that I love that I was able to add that bird sticker up to the top, because while butterflies have a very special meaning to Abby, birds actually have a very special meaning to me. And that goes back to my childhood. So seeing that little bird up in the corner makes me really happy and brings back some really fond childhood memories. And I love that I'm able to merge Abby's youth with my youth all on one layout. So I'm just sort of deciding here which label I want to add to the page. These labels were both from previous Your Creative Studio boxes. As I said earlier in this episode, I really do use these supplies in almost every layout I do. So these labels, like I said, were from previous boxes, and I was able to bring them back out and utilize them for this, my newest layout. So that's a really fun aspect of purchasing those subscription boxes from Your Creative Studio. And this layout is just about done. I am just adding some bird stickers as finishing touches. I'm actually going to use some of those tiny word stickers by Tim Holtz. I'm going to add those to all the photos as well. And apart from that, I think the only thing I need to do is all of my journaling, which I will actually do off camera because I have a lot of happy memories I sort of want to really just sit with and think about and record on the back of these photos, because this is a page that's very meaningful to me. And so it's certainly not something I want to rush. It's something I really want to think about. And this page will be a very special memory for years to come. So now that I have done my journaling off camera, I'm happy to show you the finished layout. This is my finished layout, and I'm super happy with how it came out. The memories are so wonderful and so warm, and I really do feel like I sort of captured that warmth in this layout. So thank you so much, Your Creative Studio, for sending me this beautiful box of journaling supplies. I was so excited to use them. It was a wonderful aid in helping me capture a beautiful memory from when Abby was 5 all the way to now when she is 16. If you are interested in purchasing a Your Creative Studio subscription box, please check out the description box below. I have left all of the information there. You just need to tap on the link and it will take you right to their shop. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I will catch you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.